The two fights you must win. It's a nightmare scenario that far too many responsible gun owners face. You survive a deadly attack, only to watch your life crumble in the courtroom. One minute you're a hero, the next you're facing flashing blue lights, cold steel cuffs, and a mugshot that destroys your future. You survived the physical threat, but you lost the legal battle. Why? Because carrying a concealed weapon means preparing for two fights: the immediate physical confrontation and the crucial legal war that begins the moment the police arrive. I'm John, the people's lawyer. In this video, I'm exposing the top 8 legal mistakes that police and prosecutors secretly rely on concealed carry holders to make. Plus, I'll give you the exact lawyer-approved script, the 4 simple lines you need to use to instantly protect your rights. Stay until the end, because the absolute worst mistake will shock even the most experienced gun owners. Mistake number 1, firing a warning shot. Never, under any circumstances, fire a warning shot. That sounds like a reasonable thing to do, fire at the ground or into the air to scare off an attacker, but legally it's a devastating trap. Take the case of Billy Coward in Chicago. Cornered by 2 men, he fired a shot into the ground. The ricochet wounded 2 people. Headlines screamed, "Deranged gunman," and police charged him with attempted murder. He lost 18 months under house arrest and faced years of devastating litigation, even after surveillance proved he was the victim. Then there's Marissa Alexander in Florida, who fired a single shot into the ceiling to stop her abusive husband. No one was hurt, yet prosecutors convicted her, and she was sentenced to 20 years. Here's the cold reality from the prosecutor's standpoint. If you were truly in fear for your life, you would have shot the attacker. If you shot into the air, they assume it wasn't genuine fear. It was just rage, and anger is not self-defense. Legally, courts treat all warning shots as the use of deadly force. The fix: you must only fire your weapon to stop an imminent threat where you genuinely fear serious bodily injury or death. If the threat is not present, don't fire at all. If the aggressor backs off, you back off. Step away and call 911. Mistake number 2, using deadly force when the threat is over. If firing too soon can land you in prison, firing too long can convict you. The rule is simple. Self-defense ends the moment the threat ends. Look at pharmacist Jerome Ursuland in Oklahoma. After successfully shooting and dropping 2 armed robbers, his adrenaline took over. He grabbed a second pistol, walked over to one of the prone, unconscious teenagers, and fired 5 more rounds, executing the boy. Prosecutors argued the first shot was defense. The rest were revenge. The result? A life sentence. A South Carolina store clerk who successfully defended himself against robbers was convicted of a felony because surveillance footage showed him continuing to fire at a wounded suspect who was crawling away, no longer posing a threat. The law of imminence. When the danger is clearly gone, every shot fired after that point is a crime. Juries might forgive a single extra shot in the chaos, but you must establish control. The fix: stop shooting immediately when the threat subsides. Assess the situation. If the attacker is no longer armed or advancing, stop. Issue a clear, loud command. Don't move. Drop the weapon. Once the weapon is dropped, holster your firearm, find safety, and call 911. Mistake number 3, pulling the trigger when the threat is uncertain. Your fear is not enough to justify lethal force. The threat must be imminent and reasonable. Many license holders pull the trigger too early, based on panic alone. In Detroit, Theodore Wafer shot and killed 19-year-old Renisha McBride after she crashed her car and knocked on his door for help. He fired through the door. Prosecutors stated there was no weapon, no imminent threat, and Wafer was convicted of second-degree murder. In Louisiana, a homeowner shot and killed 16-year-old Japanese exchange student Yoshihiro Hattori, who had simply knocked on the wrong door while looking for a Halloween party. The homeowner was convicted of negligent homicide. His defense that he thought he was a real threat was dismissed. The AOJ test, your legal shield. To protect yourself, you must pass the universal AOJ test for lethal self-defense. All 3 elements must be present. A. Ability. Does the aggressor have the physical capability to cause serious injury or death? O. Opportunity. Is the aggressor close enough and positioned correctly to use that ability now? J. Jeopardy. Is the aggressor's behavior placing you in imminent danger? If those three conditions don't align perfectly, do not fire. Mistake number 4, shooting to protect your property. This is one of the quickest ways to turn a legal defense into a reckless criminal act. In most states, property is never worth a human life. In Connecticut, a vape shop owner named Joshua Marcato was robbed at gunpoint. After the robbers fled, he grabbed his pistol, chased them into the street, and fired into their vehicle, wounding 2 suspects. Police charged him with multiple felonies, stating his action was reckless endangerment, not self-defense. Even in states like Texas, where property protection laws are broader, the decision is scrutinized. While Joe Horn was not indicted for shooting 2 burglars fleeing his neighbor's house, his actions were widely criticized by legal experts who argued he prioritized property over life. The fix: if the threat is purely to property, e.g., a thief is stealing from a distance, and not to a life, do not use deadly force. Even winning the criminal case does not guarantee protection from a civil lawsuit that can financially destroy you. Mistake number 5, talking to police without a lawyer. This is the most common and devastating mistake of all. You must understand, anything you say can and will be rearranged. Your story won't just be used against you, it will be taken out of context, misinterpreted, and twisted by investigators and prosecutors to build a case that paints you as the aggressor. Even an innocent comment, like admitting you had a drink earlier, can instantly result in new charges and destroy your legal credibility. The lawyer-approved script, the 4 lines that protect everything. Forget trying to give a full, detailed statement immediately. When the police arrive, be calm, comply with all instructions, and state this script clearly. 1. I am the victim. 2. I was just attacked. 3. I will sign the complaint. 4. I will be happy to cooperate after I've spoken to my lawyer. I want my lawyer now. That's it. I want my lawyer now is your legal fortress. You can always cooperate later. Your priority is providing essential recorded facts for public safety, that you are the victim, and a brief description of the fleeing suspect. Do not narrate your adrenaline or try to justify your actions. Mistake number 6, playing Good Samaritan. If you choose to intervene to protect a stranger, you better be 100% certain of the facts, because you might shoot the wrong person. There are countless cases of armed citizens misidentifying plainclothes police officers as criminals. An armed citizen, attempting to stop what he thought was a mugging, pulled his weapon and fired, only to shoot an undercover officer making an arrest. The Good Samaritan was charged with assault. The legal argument against him was brutal. You're not a hero. You only ended up shooting an innocent person. The fix: do not intervene unless the other person is in imminent fear of serious bodily injury or death, and you can clearly distinguish the victim from the aggressor. Your primary duty is to yourself and your family. If you don't know the full story, don't write the tragic ending. Mistake number 7, mixing guns and alcohol. Juries rarely, if ever, forgive this mistake. Being impaired by alcohol or drugs equals impaired judgment, which translates to an impaired legal defense. In one Minnesota case, a homeowner who had been drinking fired warning shots outside. When police arrived, his admission that he'd had a couple of drinks was used to paint him as confused and in a drunken rage, and he was charged with a felony. The fix: if you drink, do not carry. If you are impaired at home and a threat materializes, your safest option is to barricade yourself, call 911, and wait for the police. When an officer arrives, being buzzed can instantly turn a reasonable defensive action into a reckless one. Mistake number 8, chasing a fleeing suspect. When an aggressor runs away, your right to self-defense ends immediately. A fleeing suspect no longer poses a threat of imminent death or serious bodily injury. You lose your legal ground the moment you become the pursuer. You cannot legally shoot them in the back, even if they are escaping with your TV. The fix: if the suspect flees, your job is to become the best possible witness. 1. Do not pursue. 2. Get a clear description of the individual and any vehicle, license plate. 3. Call 911 immediately and provide the direction of travel and description. 4. Do not re-engage the fight. Your goal is survival, not capture or punishment. The ultimate mistake: playing detective, never play cop. This is the mistake that blindsides even the most seasoned gun owners. attempting to act like law enforcement after the threat has passed. Don't play cop. Never attempt to detain a suspect unless a life is still at imminent risk. Don't hold them at gunpoint for police, and absolutely do not make threats. Police and prosecutors view this as vigilantism, and you risk being charged as a wannabe cop. Don't play detective. Do not move any evidence, move the body, or start playing CSI. Tampering with a crime scene can lead to charges and instantly poisons your defense. Final rule: your goal is simply to survive and go home. When the police arrive, holster your weapon, comply with all instructions, and stick to the 4-line script. Let them do their job.